Hi, and welcome to our Circle of Progress. And it is a beautiful thought that together we can progress faster and steadily. And when we all focus our energy on a positive cause, we can help our self progress and we can help the progress of community. So today is a second dialogue on this topic, and we already started exploring how our transformation will inspire many others to transform and it will uplift others, and whether we want to make it implicit or explicit that through our coming together we help others. It happens anyway. It happens through our positive thoughts, through our positive attitude, through our good wishes for others. So in this dialogue, we are looking at how to support you, wherever you are, however you are, how we can support you in a practical way to reach your spiritual destination. For this dialogue, we have two very special guests, Marvin Atudorei, based in Bucharest. Very warm welcome, Marvin.
Thank you, Ioana. I'm very glad to be again with you and with
Yes,
our guests.
it's fantastic to have you here with us again. And we have Rosemary Turner with us, originally from the UK, Great Britain, Cambridge, and currently based in Inner Space Cluj, in Cluj-Napoca in Romania. So we are pleased to have this discussion for a community, which can be a community in Cluj, in Bucharest, in the UK, or anyone around the world. How can we support each other for our spiritual progress? And I will start with a question, and just to define for yourself, for us, what does progress mean to you? How do you know that you are making progress? Can you spot it in others? Can you help others? Inspire them? But first, how do you define, how do you see your own progress? Who would like to start, Marvin or Rosemary?
I think we should ask Marvin to start. He's already on the ball. The ball is rolling. It would be nice to hear what Martin has to add to this.
Thank you, Rosemary. So, my first answer intuitively is that some landmarks in the spiritual progress are spiritual maturity, also being in love with everything, to love everything in the God's creation, to have spiritual discernment, and of course, being all the time in connection with God. I mean, to feel that you are always, every moment connected with the will of God and with His love. But as I said, this is my first answer in an intuitively manner. But I think it's useful to mention what the ancient wisdom is saying on this direction. And I would refer to the Oriental wisdom. So the answer, especially in yoga path, are very well explicitly on the path with 8 steps. So we can assess on what step are we. And the 8 steps are yama, niyama. Of course, depends on which yoga path we follow, but generally they are applying this yama, niyama, and then asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, and samadhi. These are the 8 steps. And if we go into details, what means yama, niyama? Yama means, for instance, how you relate with the others. Niyama, how you relate with yourself. So we can understand how prepared are we on the path, because without yama and niyama, you cannot make any progress in spirituality. And then, of course, we have some qualities given by the practice. We need to have a huge aspiration, vitality. We need guidance from authentic spiritual leader, master, or guru, we can say. And with these tools, let's say, indeed you can progress on the spiritual path. So summarizing, we need aspiration, this will to transform ourselves, to reach to something that is beyond physical domain. When you feel that for you it is not enough to have money or social position, houses, cars. No, you want more. You want to be one with the wholeness. Actually, the significance, the meaning of the word yoga means unity. The unity between the individual consciousness and the cosmic consciousness. Or in other words, with God, to be one with God. The manifestation is the body of God. So we want to be one with everything. And actually, from scientific point of view, we found out in last decades that this is really possible, because in essence, we are consciousness. We are not just this physical body and not even energy. We are consciousness. And from this point of view of quantum physics, when we relate, when we approach this point of view of consciousness, we can be in unity and communion with everything, based on the principle of holographic universe. So this is my first answer.
So may I respond? The practice here is very much more ground-based, and it is a daily basis and a real experience, a real lived experience, moment by moment, hopefully, that there is some aim. And I really liked it when I listened to the talk with you and Neville, where you said that our intention is in accordance with God's will. And that is precisely our situation as well, that we are here in accordance with God's will, and He is introducing that to us, and that we are accommodating that to our practical lives and in a practical way on a daily basis. And how we go about that is in order to transform and change our understanding from the human to the being, to the one behind, and to elevate that condition as well from its physical-based activity. And this is what, on as I say, a moment-by-moment basis, we are practicing. And just an utterly basic response to how are we making progress. Anybody can understand if they're making progress, if they're happy, and happy in the highest way. That definition has to be put in place of true happiness. But as soon as we're in sorrow, we are stuck in this story in which we find ourselves. Once we can experience a happiness beyond that which the story provides, then we can experience some progress. And this is what we attempt ourselves on a daily basis, and to share the means to achieve this with others. And I'll leave it there for now. Over to you.
So I like very much your answer regarding this state of happiness. But of course, every human being wants to be happy, but the definition of happiness is different from one to another. Because as I said in my previous answer, some consider that happiness means in terms of material. If you have money, social position, etc., so far and so on. But in spirituality, happiness goes inside. And happiness means to be in this connection with cosmic consciousness, when you feel that with this relation with God, you have everything. Of course, we need means to exist, to subsist in this physical realm. But this is one situation. But to try to have every day more and more money, more business, more houses, cars, it's a trap. And we know very well we live in a consumption society. The society with its advertising all the time encourage us to have more in material, but they ignore completely the spirituality. So happiness from a spiritual point of view is discovered, and here I would relate to the koshas, because I spoke a bit in the previous conversation that I had with you about the 5 layers that we consist of. I mean, the human being has, of course, this physical body, but also we have an etherical body, a mental body, and then some bodies are very less known. It is the supramental body, Vijnana Maya Kosha, and the causal body, Ananda Maya Kosha. So we understand what is really happiness from spiritual point of view when we get beyond the ego and we access what is called Vijnana Maya Kosha supramental. Because ego is all the time related with the others, with proud, and the ego is not satisfied anytime. It is projected all the time in past or in future, but does not live the present. So when we enter in living the present moment, we get like through a magic window, portal, and we access what is the supramental, Vijnana Maya Kosha. And here is the happiness and the beginning of the happiness, because when we go even deeper and we access the Ananda Maya Kosha, the causal body, we live on cosmic happiness. So in Vijnana Maya Kosha, supramental, is the living of the present moment, but this could become in like an ocean of happiness. And we are very happy that we exist. We simply exist. It's a miracle that we exist. and we are amazed by this miracle. Of course, for ego, these words are meaningless. Of course, we exist. It's nothing special. Of course, I think so, I exist, like Descartes said. But in spirituality is more than mind, more than just rationality. So a short approach of about happiness.
Yes, understood. That pattern has its followers. You will understand that here present, there are those of us who are following a path which is carefully laid out in a rather more, shall we say, fundamental way. And it tends to be based upon our daily lives. And above all, we are given an understanding every day of just who we are. And that is that we are not these bodies, we are not these parts that we're playing, but we are something from way beyond. And we have different levels also of existence and understanding where we can take our way of being and seeing, our awareness, our attitude can take us to different levels. And above all, we are enjoined to stay beyond and without, above this story, and to see it from above and not to get caught up in it. Because once we're caught up in it, then we are ego-based and we are within all these activities which the ego enjoys and multiplies and defends itself to the death. What we are about is keeping out of that, seeing when the ego is approaching, and in our teaching, we have a personification of this, which can be seen as quite entertaining, that there are 10 heads with, all containing vices, and all of these vices we notice, we know when it's greed, anger, lust, attachment and all of these. And so we can have labels to easily recognize when we're getting caught in any of these. But our main aim is to stay above in that realm where the highest one is. And that form of truth and perfection, which is our aim and to which we are progressing, dropping all that which has accumulated over a passage of time where we have been spiraling down. We are now occasioning a reverse spiral and endeavoring to create that movement upwards again and sustain it. And not only for ourselves, but as was so beautifully discussed in your discussion with Neville, that level of vibrational content, which is holding many others who are susceptible to that. And there are those who are in awareness of this and are searching for it. And when we can keep our attention on that, then we start holding others and bringing others with us as well, as you so beautifully described. So this is our path, if you like, very, very functional, very vivid, and practiced on this daily basis as well. Does that make sense? You can, I'm sure, appreciate this.
Absolutely.
For us, I feel that to move on to the next aspect of this is what resources are we requiring to make progress fast and steady. And I feel this is very important to us because we're here engaged at the moment in trying to open up paths and ways for people that we know are there, but we haven't yet come across them. So we're endeavouring to make paths cross and set up this spiral upwards within this community here within Cluj-Napoca. And each one of us in our own situations is doing that. So each one is using their own resources, their own time, energy, and putting everything they have, in Hindi, tan, man, dhan, their mind, body, wealth, into this spiral.
Yes, so if it is to go to the next question, Ioana, if you agree, what resources do we need? I would relate in the beginning at what I said before, that we cannot build spiritual progress without the foundation. And the foundation, it is called in the ancient tradition, how we relate with the others and how we relate with ourselves. It's a kind of discipline. There are 10 so-called rules. Of course, they are not rules like in a forceful community, because we do if we want. I mean, nobody forces, but it is important to understand. So I would briefly relate to the 10 recommendations that the Oriental spirituality offers us from thousands of years. So how we relate with the others, that it is called yama. The first recommendation is ahimsa, non-violence. Non-violence is not just physical violence. I mean, to not attack someone, to steal their money or something. No, it is much deeper. The violence is rooted in the mind. When we think that we would like to hurt, to attack someone, this is already a break of this recommendation. So, of course, the remedy is love. If we succeed to love everybody, because we are all brothers and sisters, and within ourselves there is the same spark of light of divinity, the Atman, the self. Like we are like some projections of the same person. I mean, you are mirroring of myself, but in other conditions, in other contexts. But we are basically, essentially, the same. We have the same spark of divinity, the Atman. So this is ahimsa. And of course, we could talk very much about this. The violence is connected with the resonance. When you think that you are a victim, you attract violence. And there are many psychological processes here. So another recommendation is satya, to be all the time connected with the divine truth. And respecting this recommendation means to always saying the truth. I mean, many people have this habit to lie as a joke or for some interests, and they are keep lying all the time. And this is a bad resonance. If we use to say the truth, we enter in another field of resonance, and we start to resonate with the divine truth. I mean, with some state of happiness we are talking earlier, and you feel that you are connected with some very important cosmic truth. I mean, some causal ideas. We talked about the realms, basically three realms, physical, astral, and causal realm. So everything is rooted in this causal realm, where are the divine, the godly attributes. This is another very important topic, the attributes, godly attributes. So another recommendation how to manage relations with the exterior is brahmacharya. Brahmacharya means to conserve, to preserve your energy, your potential energy. I mean, this is connected with sexuality, because when people are having this chaotic relations with others in so-called couples of getting in love, many times this is just illusion, and they don't really love, they only want sex. And um, this is a very bad situation. In Oriental spirituality, uh, they are learning to preserve this very important potential, not to spread it, not to get without it, because our state of health and longevity is directly related with this. So I will not insist more. Just one idea. It was a scientist, a French scientist, Louis Kervran, that in the years 50s, so about 80 years ago, he discovered on scientific methods that the physical atoms of our body could be transmutated in normal conditions with some spiritual practice in energy. So to transmute, to make a kind of alchemy, the matter in energy, and the energy could be transmutated also in state of consciousness. So this is also extremely important in yoga practice, and not only in yoga, because everybody has these processes of transmutation and also sublimation of energy.
Thank you,
Another
Martin. It's very beautiful what you are saying. I wonder whether Rosemary would also like to add to this 5, maybe you mentioned already, Ahimsa, Satya.
No, only 3. I mentioned only 3.
Okay, Brahmacharya.
So,
Would Rosemary have any comments on that? And then you can continue with the others.
Thank you. The ahimsa is well understood by us all, and within our teachings, we have the physical example of Mahatma Gandhi very much in our understanding and our history, of course, as well. Someone as old as I was actually brought up in parallel with that ahimsa movement, and so very real throughout childhood, illustrated in the papers, on the news, and so on. And just even in ordinary English education, this comes up, and so became real even at that point. But now it is one of our main aspects of our way of being on a daily basis, that we never give sorrow, that we always are in the understanding that we are beings of love. Our main understanding, our total understanding, our total aim is to move ourselves from the consciousness of being a body to being that of the Atma, of being the soul. And the soul is of its own, of itself, is a being of beauty, is a being of peace, is a being of tenderness, of mercy, of understanding, of clarity, of truth, happiness, joy, bliss, all of the highest qualities that one can conceive of. And this is our experience. Even in meditation, we can achieve that experience when we are able to create that connection and feel the return as well from the highest source. And how can anyone's soul in that deep experience be anything other than brahmacharya, anything other than non-violent. The two cannot exist. So this is our aim, and the brahmacharya totally understood. That is one of the main principles of our organization, in fact. You may understand that, along, of course, with all the others that you've been mentioning, and that we are in our daily practice emerging these qualities. And if we're not, then we find ourselves in sorrow. And there is a good indicator there that as soon as we start finding ourselves in need and greed, there's something wrong. We've gone to sleep. We need to wake ourselves up again. And you used the term awakening before, I remember, and that we're in the light. And all of these terminologies are very real to each one of us. And it was lovely to hear you describing them in your way as well, and to feel that understanding and that parity of understanding is very uplifting and rewarding for us, I must say, for me personally.
Thank you, Rosemary. Yes, I've studied these things many years, I could say, and I'm aware that we could expand these topics very much, but given the time that we have here, I prefer to be very synthetic in order to cover the main points.
Yes.
And if you agree, I will continue with the other recommendations that are also very important. So we mentioned until now 3 of them: ahimsa, satya, and brahmacharya. But some other recommendation how to behave with the others are non-theft, not to steal. It's in their terminology asteya. Of course, here again, it is not only about to steal objects. It is the mentality of stealing. And we live in this society where we can see in international relations. By the way, I'm PhD in international relations and journalist. I am studying this kind of things every day. And people are stealing, nations, states are stealing, territories are stealing resources. They are lying all the time. So they don't respect basic things in spirituality. How we can live in a normal society when this kind of lacking attitudes are so widespread. But I'm coming back. So asteya, non-stealing, non-theft, is this purity in understanding that if I respect the laws of God through resonance, I will receive what I deserve. It is not necessary to steal from others. That maybe they have, and definitely, they have some merits. I have to be patient and, like in a fair competition, to do what is honest to do, and of course I will receive at the proper moment what I deserve. So in a very short manner, I said a few words about asteya, and the last recommendation regarding yama, how to behave with the others, is non-accumulation, is aparigraha. Aparigraha, I would say a very short story. It is easy to understand. It was many years ago, many thousands, we can say hundreds of years ago. It was a disciple with his master. And his master told him, look, just stay here under this tree and meditate. Wait for me, I will come periodically to assess your progress. And days passed, and this disciple which he has only a material to cover his body, noticed one morning that a small mouse eat a piece of this material. So he thought, well, if this situation continues, I will remain without the material that to cover my body. I will be frozen in the morning. So it's everything I have to cover the sun. And he considered that I need to have a cat. And he found a cat in order to take care of his texture. But the cat was crying for food, for milk. So
Yeah.
he started, when he went to the peasants to beg for food, to beg also for some milk for the cat. So everybody asking, but what is this situation? We never saw something like this. How do you say a person that sannyasin? We never saw a sannyasin begging for milk for his cat. It is completely unusual. But they gave him some milk. And after a while, somebody told him, listen, it is very embarrassing to beg for milk. It is better to have a cow. If you have a cow, the cow eats grass, so the problem is solved. And um, he get a cow, but the cow need a coverage, a hambar, a small house. So you understood the story from step by step. He became a businessman. I mean, to have a lot of things to resolve every day. Of course, he did not have time for meditation. And after 1 year, the master came. So he asked everybody, where is my disciple? I told him to wait for me under this tree and he's not here. Where is my disciple? So the others told him, your disciple is that house. He is an entrepreneur. He has a lot of business. He sell milk and so on. And the master went to that house. And when the disciple saw him, he suddenly understood. He told me only to meditate and look what I have done. So this is a very short story about the consumption society that we are living on. And if we hear, yes, you need to be open with God, to have a relationship with God, we agree, of course, but we have no time because I have a business, I have a job, I have friends, I have to go on the park to drink a beer with them, and many examples. I have to watch the news, TV, and the internet, and WhatsApp, and everything, TikTok. So we have no time to be with God. This is non-accumulation. This is aparigraha.
Story, and it's a story that's so well known to us all. And thank you for that. This is indeed our situation. I wonder if we're going to be running out of time. I wonder if we should maybe move on to this next question. What is it that you can bring to this circle of progress in terms of skills, abilities, and knowledge? I would like to say that we here, and those of us who were present, are, as described already, are busy within this activity as best we can. And I would define it, I would say principally, as bringing peace and bringing love, unconditional love and acceptance. And just one reference as well back to thievery. One of the biggest thefts we can create is for us to take away the pride, the self-respect of the soul from another. That if we don't see the other as a beautiful being of peace and love and harmony, we are stealing from them, and that we need to support that. That is also theft.
Yes, Rosemary. Indeed, if we are in a lack of time, I cannot refer anymore at the recommendation that Oriental spirituality offers in order to relate with ourselves. There are 5 recommendations, also very important, but maybe with another occasion. What we can add to this spiritual approach in order to intensify our evolution, spiritual evolution, I would say that a very important landmark is to go, and I think you, Rosemary, mentioned this previously, to go from the ego level of consciousness to the one of soul. And this is directly related with awakening of this structure of Vijnana Maya Kosha. Vijnana Maya Kosha means the supramental, the ability, the capacity to live in present moment, not to project our mind, our ego, in past and in future.
Yes.
To live now, because the present moment is a miracle. And when we realize what happiness is to live here and now, so we enter in this state of consciousness of soul. But this is just the beginning. The soul can live happiness as an ocean, as a cosmic field of cosmic ocean of happiness. So this is a very important step in spiritual practice, and we can find this transition not only in yoga. We can see in Christianity, in absolutely every authentic spiritual path. For instance, the Christian saints, they were praying in their solitude on a mountain or somewhere else, and suddenly they realized that they are very happy to be in communion with Christ, with Virgin Mary, or with God, the Father. So here comes the spiritual path, when you are not conditioned by time, by materiality, and so on.
Our condition, our natural condition, is of being angels, and that has the highest consciousness within it, that of being neither one thing nor the other. You are deity-like, but you are aware of the situation as well. So you are in that crucial central position. The angel is the one in between the two. Now, when we can understand that our natural nature, the natural nature of all, is to be God-like, because this is what we are told, that we are the children of God, and that we are God-like, and in fact, even that he will lift us above his above himself. When we understand that we are that, then that is what we need to bring into the world, that we're much, much higher than we can possibly conceive at the moment, and we need to be working towards that, and how we are going to achieve this. And it needs grassroots activity to promote this, as well as at the highest levels. And in our community worldwide, I have to say, there's an awful lot, 50% are women, possibly over 50%, because they are seen to be they don't have as much ego, shall we say, maybe as the male of the species, in order to make progress. But at the same time, we do find we need our some guides, and we use our should we say, the brothers, as we call them, as our guides. When we create that sort of a community, then we are going to lead to that highest point of the reassertion of this angelic based religion once more, that Dharma in place where all our ethics are based on that highest godlike level. That is our aim, and how to achieve this on this nitty-gritty daily basis, the daily grind which we're in of creating this, how to set about this, with what skills and so on, and how we can see this within our community. And this is where it will be very good to hear from Marvin, even ground-based, okay, at government levels. Governments are temporary, as we know, very temporary. It needs maybe some more ground-based activity. Any thoughts on this?
Yes, Rosemary, I would add, maybe in the end, I don't know how much time do we have, but it is essentially for every human being to understand that we are all connected. When we live in this materialistic paradigm, we have the impression that we are separated, that we are just individuals. But when we understand the spirituality and even the science, because the advanced science is absolutely coherent with spirituality, we understand, for instance, from quantum physics, that we are all the time connected through our souls and consciousness. So this is very important because we can transform society. When we live in fear, as our governors wants to make us, with the news, with wars, with economics, with poverty. So when we live in fear, our level of consciousness is very low. But when we understand that we are angels, as you said, or light beings, sons and daughters of God, of Creator, so our power is limitless. And we can connect with each other, even if I am in Romania, you are in United Kingdom, with someone from Africa, or doesn't matter where from, and we can become a force, a real force that can shape society and planet Earth. And this is what the governors, the persons from the shadow government, they don't want us to know. So there are a lot of proofs. Maybe some other time I can mention some scientific proofs that demonstrate the power of collective prayer, collective meditation.
Yes.
So the effects are measurable.
Yes.
They made experiments, look, for 1 week or for 1 month, let's measure the antisocial curve. And they discovered when people are praying and they open their hearts, even if it is only 1% from the community that have this kind of thoughts, all the community is transformed. So we can do this at the scale of all mankind if we understand the power of consciousness. So I think this is very important. And this power works through the process of resonance. The resonance is a fundamental process. It works in physical realm, in energetical realm, or in consciousness realm.
Very much understood here, and a very, I think, beautiful note for us to finish on. Thank you so much for that. Much appreciated.
Thank you too, Rosemary.
And I think for some meditation now, we just have 5 minutes.
Yes. So maybe Ioana will take the lead, or someone else.
I don't know if Joanna is there, so if we
Can meditate together. No,
sorry,
can meditate together here,
Yes.
but without Ioana, it's okay.
with silence, we move inwards, and access that silent inner space. This is why our name is inner space. You'll understand that silent inner space. And it can be silent because there is peace there. There is that understanding of who we are, beings of peace, and we share that. We share that amongst ourselves, and we spread that understanding. We listen to the silence, and we listen to the stillness behind everything. The silence, the stillness of the home of us all. A home with the highest being, a place of security, of perfect love, unconditional happiness, always.